Yeah, yeah. And so this person is asking you to get involved in their criminal activity. Um, well, that's obviously a very negative situation to be in. Um, I'm not sure if it's worth informing the authorities of something like that. I'm sure people like that make their own problems for themselves. Um, it's very surprising that somebody who has a job in a school is doing activities like this in their free time or even trying to take advantage. I mean, it's worth. I mean, do the management of the school know that this person is trying to persuade members of the school to become involved in criminal activities? You know that it's a crime if you know that there's a crime and you say nothing about it because you are then involved in the situation. When someone informs you of a criminal activity, you have a responsibility to inform a person in authority of the criminal activity because if not, if later on the police come to you and they ask you, did you know this person was involved in illegal activities? And you say yes, you tell the truth, there is an obligation within the system to inform somebody in authority that a teacher in a school is attempting to involve other teachers in the school in illegal activities. I mean, you don't have to go to the police or anything, but you need to mention it to some higher member of staff that, can I have a word with you for a minute? Look, this happened with this person, and I don't care if something happens about it or nothing happens about it, but um, don't let it happen to anybody else because um, maybe I'm a bit, maybe he thinks I'm more gullible, more naive than other people. Maybe he thinks I'll go and do it, and I'm not. But what if somebody else is? You know, you've got a teacher in school involving other teachers in school in illegal activities. Um, I'm just saying, be careful, right? And I'm telling you because I don't want the problem to be on my shoulders. So sorry, but you know that's what happens with positions of responsibility. Responsibility is about handling information, and this is above my pay grade, and that's a very good term to use. It's above my pay grade. I'm not paid enough to worry about this, but other people are. So those that are paid more should know how to deal with more. So there you go. It's not my problem anymore. Thank you very much. Um, and maybe nothing will happen, but it's worth making people aware of the the situation if you think that it might happen again to somebody else at some other time um, because it's destroyed your trust and your relationship with the teacher in the school, and that's kind of important. The school should not be monitoring everything that everybody looks at. So I don't think that's a big issue what a person does on the internet. Obviously, if they're at school, they should be focused on school elements and things. But uh, there are many teachers who spend a lot of time on the internet looking at things not related to their jobs, but they're still able to use those elements of life in their jobs as well. So that's yes, time in school should be spent on school-related activities, but there's a huge complicated argument about what are school-related activities because everything in life is important and everything in life is connected to everything else, and um, so it's hard to separate the working life from the personal life, and it's a question, you know, should it be separated or not? It's different for different people. Um, Looking at cars might be something that saves his life. Just looking at it from, you know, turn the situation around 180 degrees. Maybe if he wasn't looking at cars, he'd be involved in a worse habit, right? right? Because it is obviously some kind of negative addiction that he has,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe cars is a more positive addiction than something else. Hmm. It's okay. So there's a recurring theme. There's a repeating element in everything here, which is that for some reason everybody feels that they can take advantage of you. Some of the students feel that they can take advantage of you. Some of the teachers feel that they can take advantage of you. Obviously, your previous employer thought that they could take advantage of you. Um, so, when there is a series of problems, we have to search for the common element that connects all of the problems together. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, in this situation, the common element is you. And there must be some kind of signal that you are transmitting to people that makes them think, not know for a fact, but think that for some reason you are an easy target. There must be something that you are communicating. Now, you are not, I know you a little bit, you are not an easy target. I know that. You know that, right? You know you. But there's something that you are communicating to these people which is making them think, I can use this person. Okay. Fear. Fear is a key word because um, biologists will tell you that you can smell fear, right? You can sense it. Yeah, when another person is apprehensive or nervous about a situation or anxious about something, you can sort of smell that fear. And there are certain personality types, most obviously narcissists, who will seek out vulnerable people. They will sense which people are the vulnerable people, and they will try to take advantage of them. Not only will they try to take advantage of them, they will do something else which is even more important, which is they will try to isolate them. Because the isolated person has nobody to turn to. And so if they can isolate the person first, then they will be easier to take advantage of. Now, for some of this group of narcissists, it's a conscious activity. They're very much aware of what they're doing, and for some, it's a subconscious activity. They do it, it's natural to them, and they have no understanding of what it is that they're doing. It's just their version of normal, um, which of course is very self-destructive for themselves and the people around about them. Um, so the isolation element is very important because it's like animals that are hunting. You know what it's like when the tigers or the lions are trying to eat the antelope. Yeah, they always try to get one antelope alone, get it out of the pack, out of the herd. They try to get one alone and isolate it before they attack it. And it's very similar in society. And we sort of have this idea that everybody essentially is good on the inside and truth and justice win in the end, like some Hollywood film or some movie about superheroes. You know, the good guy or girl always wins in the end. But that's not always how it plays out in the real world, because when people have to make that difficult choice between doing what is right, which is difficult, and doing what is wrong, but is easy, they very often choose to do what is wrong because it's easier and they don't want to upset everybody and they're not self-confident and they don't want to change the balance of things because that involves changing more things and making life for them a little bit more complicated. And it's nice to be comfortable and they don't want to upset the comfort of the situation. And that's what leads to horrible events happening in a lot of institutions such as schools and care homes for vulnerable people. Um, and it's it's hard because the human brain is wired for self-protection. It's not wired for morality, truth, justice, um, an entirely ethical perspective. It's not wired for that. It's wired for self-preservation. So when people are pushed to make a decision, their thinking is very often a thinking related to self-preservation, which is what is the best for me. Which is usually what is the best for me now. Not what is the best for me in the long term, but it's what is the best for me now. And that's a very self-destructive personal path, because that means selling tomorrow so that you can have today. And that's terrible because you need tomorrow. Because if you're not future-minded, you can't change anything. And that's important because when you realize that you can change anything today to make anything different tomorrow, and the future will become the past as we go in one line. The future, tomorrow, will become yesterday. It will become last week. It will become last month. It will become last year. When you realize that you can basically actually time travel and change anything, but most people are too frightened. They're living in their scared little world, their little box, and they don't want to see anything outside of the box because that's the way to that's a frightening way for them, because they don't know how to handle that, because people don't understand the basic things in life. Not only do they not understand morality, they don't even understand economics. We live on an economic planet. Numbers are not that complicated. There's only 9 numbers and 0. Right? There's only we talk about the infinite combinations, but it's not that infinite. It's not that complex. And people don't even understand basic economics. They don't even understand 2 + 2 = 4, and I mean that on a sort of general sense of why is this product cheaper than that product? How did this get to the market? Talking about it from a business perspective. They don't, like, when people get paid money, they don't understand where the money comes from. They just know that they get paid money. They don't understand the economics of how the money traveled from somewhere to get to them, or the value that they've created through their work. People don't understand that at all. So, and these are basic elements about how the world, we live on a financial planet, right? Everything functions through some kind of commerce. Mm-hmm. But people basically don't understand commerce at all. It's like, I buy shares in this company and it gives me a return to me. They don't understand how the share system works. They don't understand all the parts of the process. And so people, when challenged and put under pressure, will actually very rarely make the moral choice. Because the moral choice is a difficult choice. The moral choice is to say, I'm going to be decisive. I'm going to make a decision. And I'm going to say, this is right and that's wrong. And I'm going to stand for what's right. And when pushed, people who work in those pressured environments like schools, they're going to be on the side of the shark. because they don't want to get eaten, because they're scared, because they're under pressure. And that's the reality of the reality. And I think that when there are sharks in the environment, they're always looking for people that they can feed on and manipulate. And we have to, and people, we are consciously and subconsciously sending out signals in everything that we do for some reason that probably relates to something in our history that makes us less confident about stuff. And confidence is power. Confidence is power. The ability to believe that you can do it and get up and do it is extremely powerful. There's nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who's confident. And there's nothing more attractive to a man than a woman who's confident. And so confidence is power. And not only is it real power, it's also false power, because people think they're right when they're wrong. That's all the politicians, right? They think they know what the right answer is, but they've got no idea at all. So when we are not confident, when we're not confident, we don't have the confidence, and there's a little bit of insecurity there. It's a signal to other people that maybe I can get something out of this. And people are constantly looking for any kind of advantage they can get, especially in artificial environments like schools. Any advantage they can get over anybody else, they will take it. I don't know if we talked before about the crabs in the bucket analogy. Yeah. So, given the opportunity to do the right thing, people very often choose to do the wrong thing. Before Jesus was crucified, who was the governor? Was it Pontius Pilate, right? Said, okay, we can set one person free, right? It will be, you can choose. The people can choose. You can set free Jesus, or you can set free the criminal. I forget his name. What was his name? Barabbas or something? I forget his name. Anyway, can't remember. And the people choose the criminal. They want the criminal to be free, and they crucify Jesus. And that story is so important because it's a reminder to us that people don't make good decisions. A lot of people don't make good decisions. They make the wrong decisions consistently. And it's hard when we're trying to do the wrong thing, because if we're trying to do the right thing, It's hard when we're trying to do the right thing, because if we're surrounded by the wrong people, we're not going to get very far. And so the people around you are part of the support network. And it's important to understand where you are in this position. How much support do you have? Because if people are picking on you, there's obviously a feeling that you don't have the support that you need, or that you're not going to fight back in some way. And the worst, I can only think of the worst possible example of this, which is when children get abused by adults. The abuser must know that the child will be silent. The abuser must know that the child will be silent. Because if the child speaks, the abuser goes to prison. The abuser must know that the child was silent. So the abuser, who's the shark, studies the environment to see if the child is going to communicate to anybody. And if they think the child will not communicate to anybody, then they take advantage of the child. And so there must be something that you are communicating to people around about you which communicates to them that you're not going to do anything. Because if you were going to do something, they would be shit scared. And they would never come to you with the information.